Welcome to the Monday morning check-in. I apologize for that hang up there. I will try to edit that out. But anyway, going to be an interesting morning, as I mentioned. You guys didn't hear none of this, but what we have now, just glancing over the last 48 hours of news, a lot of uh, geopolitical tensions right now due to what's happening in Russia. We got a narrative out of the East saying that it's Ukraine. We got a narrative out of the West blaming it on ISIS. We all know that it's political theater charades. It's all designed to distract us from what's really happening. So we're going to filter through all that. I have a lot of interesting news about what's happening in Michigan with the subsidizing of the foreign invasion by the great state of Michigan. I have some articles here about the transition out of the old into the new, and it looks like the treasury market is not the most sought after asset to have these days. So they're trying to link real world assets by using crypto to stable coins to prop up the possible bond market. And what else? We got gold making a surge, man. So it's going to be a very interesting morning. Nevertheless, appreciate you guys for the heads up. I got a gang of tabs open, so forgive me for that, but we're going to still make the best out of this morning. Hope everyone is doing well this morning. Let me know in the chat, how was your weekend, everything like that. And we're going to make sure this is a productive yet informative live stream, starting off with a good word of God, and then we're going to dive into some news stories. And I try to cover everything from Wall Street all the way down to Main Street. And, we kind of left off Friday talking about the unfortunate news from Stellantis, auto manufacturer here in Michigan, basically laying off several hundred over a Zoom meeting. And then starting up this morning, I got some more information about a large amount of potential layoffs coming. So it seems like that's the trend. And based upon a variety of factors. And it's very unfortunate. So, every moment that you have an opportunity to earn income in this real world, take advantage of it. Definitely, set some aside for your savings, have some for your day-to-day living. But, it's going to be very tight moving forward for a good portion of people. But then again, that's all part of their plan. All right. See, there we go. He's back. Good. Yeah, I apologize for that. Just another tab that I didn't have on. So we're going to make the most of this and have some fun. I have, as I mentioned, 10 or so articles open, just things that caught my attention. Feel free to let me know what caught your attention in the chat, and then we're going to make the most of this opportunity we have together this morning. So as always, let's get into that good news and charge up our spirit, man. That's what it's all about. So here we have investing time. Let's see what this devotion has for us this morning. It says investing time, March 25th. It says, using Psalm 90, verse 12, it says, teach us to number our days that we may present to you a heart of wisdom. And then it says here, time is a precious resource, and there often doesn't seem to be enough of it. But the truth is, how you invest the minutes and hours you've been given demonstrates what's most important to you. For instance, consider, are you distracted by needless pursuits, diversions that have no eternal value? When the Lord is calling you to his higher purposes, are you choosing entertainment over knowing God through his word and prayer? Do you spend hours pondering your fears rather than thanking him for all he's done and resting in him? Do you spend more time complaining about others than ministering to them? The time you have is indeed limited. So the Lord calls you to surrender yourself to his will, to invest your time in pursuits that are eternally worthwhile, such as seeking him and blessing others. That's very powerful for me. So I'm gonna repeat that again. It says, so the Lord calls you to surrender yourself to his wisdom, to invest your time in pursuits that are eternally worthwhile, such as seeking him and blessing others. So ask him, quote, Lord, how can I spend my life in a manner that pleases you? He will show you how to employ your time wisely if you'll listen to him and respond to him in obedience. And then a closing prayer here is, Lord, teach me to spend my days in a manner that honors you, thank you for making my minutes count for eternity. Amen. All right, my good people, that is that early morning word. Yeah, making your time worthwhile, not only for the here and now, but for eternity. Man, that's just some stuff to really, yeah, I got a whole nother rant on that, man. But I was, looking in Matthew, diving into the kingdom of God is my favorite subject. And I came across a verse in reference to the Lord talking about, don't lay up for yourselves treasure on earth where rust and moth do corrupt, but store for yourselves treasure is in heaven. And I just stood there. I'm like, Lord, you're speaking eternal truth, because you are the creator of everything. So when those words in red to me, man, it's like, okay, what do you mean? What do you mean store up treasures for myself in heaven? And I'm like, man, like, that's a whole sermon in of itself, but it got my wheels turning, got my juices flowing. And, to summarize that little thought based upon the revelation I had is, how you invest your time and your monetary resources determine where your heart is located at. And for me, I had to check myself, like, Lord, like, I do a lot of, quote unquote investing, and, how much investing am I actually doing into something that matters eternally? And then that goes into how you bless others, giving to the good causes, as well as this word talks about, doing for God as if you're doing for your fellow man, that form of investing. So putting more time in other people as well as spending into good causes is a good way of storing up for yourself treasures in heaven, because God will reward you for that. So that was just something that stood out to me. So, yeah. And so here's another little something. For More Monkey Business says, Putin said Jesus was black. So I shared in the Telegram a video compilation somebody put together that had, about 1 million or 2 followers, highlighting how, Putin went into their archives, the historical archives, and pulled out all types of visuals and paintings and things of that nature to show that, the whole Middle Eastern area, back to the Judeas, back to the old Christianity days, were darker individuals. So, Middle Eastern individuals, they're, definitely, they have a complexion to themselves. They're not blonde hair and blue eyes. We all know that. But that's, the Western's whitewashing of history, amongst many other things that they've lied to us about. So, okay, man. So let's get into the good news. So as always, I got to big up my people, man. Big up my people, my partners in helping people prepare for what lies ahead. And then so right now, it's never been more important to make sure you got some diversification in a variety of factors. You have to take care of natural matters while also storing up for yourselves, eternally speaking, by investing in other people and good causes. So let's get into that real quick. And then I'm going to get into the leading headline, which happens to be, which I mentioned before, in the great state of Michigan. We're leading the way in the wokeism, as I'll call it. Anyway, let's get into it, man. Hope everyone's doing well. And yeah, let me give. I was trying to, I want to have some little backdrop sounds, and so I've been working on trying to come up with some background music that has a good energy tone to it, just to give you guys something other than just my voice. And so I trying to figure out some good sounds on the back end. So I'm gonna play a little something in the background, a little instrumental. Anyway, so trying something new, always trying to improve. But let me get into this, man. I wasted too much time and I started off on the wrong foot. Forgive me. All right, so as always, got to big up my people at Patriotcom/RTD. As you can see on the page right here, it's an assortment of items of all kind, depending on what you're looking for, or what type of items you need to prepare. But I always want to highlight what's most important to me, I think, and that's food reserve. So definitely getting your calorie game up. So if you guys are interested in finding out more, Patriotcom/RTD, you can go to this page here, and they have their 1-year survival food kit. And then they have different tiers beneath that. So there's no reason to be able to grab a hold of something to have on reserves. As I always mention, the importance of having something so you can get up to 72 hours. And it's very cheap and affordable. And it's a good way to either prepare yourself or get for your family and friends. And it's a good way to, have some calories on reserve. And also energy. Everybody's going to need energy, especially, the whole concern of the solar flare. I saw this weekend that there was a solar flare. We're told about it. But once again, nothing happened as far as any disruptions, telecommunication wise, or nothing like that. But at any minute, anything is possible. So in the meantime, you want to definitely have some backup for whatever it will be worth if there is a EMP event. Not quite sure, but they have the Faraday bags as well, where you can actually put your electronic devices inside of an enclosed bag that is magnetic proof, which means it'll be something worthwhile. So that's something I'm checking into myself, to put some of my generators in a bag just in case, with some computers and some phones just in case. Don't want to be completely unplugged. But then again, if the grid go down, then, be out of luck anyway. But as you can see on the screen here, Patriot Power Supply panel generator here. Great opportunity for those who want to have a way to, have some power on the backup. Check them out if you guys are interested. And as you can see, forpatriots.com/RTD is the place to go for that one. And also, I want to definitely make sure I encourage my people with my latest partner here, Colonial Metals Group. They are doing a great job, man, of being able to help people take matters into their own hands. And as we're witnessing right now with the inflated bubble that's about to burst right now, literally we're one crash away from everybody's life savings being wiped away. And of course, majority of you here have taken matters into your own hands by getting physical, because if you don't hold it, you don't own it. But a lot of people are not prepared to be able to take things back into their own possession. And so this is a good way of having a self-directed IRA where you actually are able to hold onto your gold and silver directly and take advantage of the actual ability to do such with this program here. So if you guys are interested, I encourage you, find out more information. Don't take my word for it. Call the experts, speak to these guys here. You can protect your wealth. As you see, there's a number here, 1-888-521-2448, where you can get more information here. But I'm excited to partner with them because this is a reputable company that I know that can do you right if you're interested. So it's my personal opinion that, once this next event happened, there will be no recovery like last time where the markets will be inflated back up. They will, but then again, the purchasing power won't be there. So the numbers on the screen will definitely shift. So find out more. Colonials Medical Group, links in the description. Check those guys out. And also they have a very special opportunity as well, where they're actually looking for people who pursue their opportunities here. They're actually giving away. You have a chance to receive up to $10,000 in silver, as well as a free safe. And so those are just some things they're doing to give people, an opportunity to protect and preserve their purchasing power. So check them out. Links in the description. And I advise you to do that just because it won't hurt to find out information from them. So, all right, let's keep it moving. All right, next thing here. It's been a while since I've talked about the IQ quiz, dollar IQ quiz. And so I'm bringing that back out because people still take it. It's been up there for a couple of years. And so it's not surprising at this point that the average score is around 60, like literally average score is around 60. And it's simple information about our monetary history. And so there's no reason why the world is the way it is, because people don't know history or understand how and where things are trending. So if you haven't, I encourage you, take the dollar quiz, and there are some steps to follow beneath that, but get this information out there. So this would be a good way to test yourself as well as test others. So send it to a friend or family member, let them test themselves. So at least they'll be able to realize that there's a lot that they don't know. And if they're interested, they can pursue an education while there's still time. And it ultimately leads getting back into real world gold and silver. And so rethinkingthedollar.com/quiz, 10 quick questions can literally, do wonders for a lot of people. So links in the description, check it out there. And it's my way of trying to get more people to wake up. And so I can use your help by putting it out there. So, all right, my good people, that's what they have with that. So we're going to get into some good stuff right now. And before I do that, let me make sure everything is flowing smoothly. Make sure my microphone is working, everything in between. Avira says, how can I join the Telegram? Very quick, very simple. Go down, release this video here, look at the social media tab, and then there's a link on there. All the social medias we can find RTD is on that tab beneath this video. Click Telegram, and then you can join there. I'll approve you to come in because I had to be careful of spammers. Then you can join the community and you can share stuff throughout the day. And there's a lot of interaction there. I'm glad to have a lot of activity in the community. So once again, all the links to socials is in the description. Just click the tab, join, and plug in, man. Share articles, share news. All your favorite content creators, whoever they are, drop their stuff there. That's how we all learn. That's how we all get better. Okay, let's get into some market activity real quick, and then we'll get into the leading story, which is Michigan going woke. That's what I'm calling it. Michigan going woke. All right, real simple. So just look at the gold market real quick. Right now we're in the green. This is some good news here. So we are literally gold, $2,179. Let me refresh this to make sure this is up to snuff. Gold is $2,178. And so literally we are in all-time high territory, which basically means the Federal Reserve note, aka the dollar, is in an all-time low. And so I was thinking about that. How do I word that to where people can really grasp the magnitude of how serious this is? And so basically I'm thinking, like, if gold is in an all-time high, meaning that the Federal Reserve note is an all-time low, it means it takes 2,179 pieces of paper to get 1 ounce. Think about the legacy system and your portfolio, everything the world has been forced to participate in with the pensions, the IRAs, and all that stuff like that, which is subject to market volatility. So if it's not the bond market or the equities market, that's all the bulk of the products that people are invested in, for those who are invested still. And literally, we're one hiccup away. We're one correction away from that stuff being completely wiped out. And that's one of the dangers people don't realize. And so literally, if gold is the measuring stick, everything else is debasing against it. It's like, come on now. but of course you guys know. But I'm just trying to always find ways to reach people who are still asleep at the wheel, because it's 99.99% of the population that have no clue. And I couldn't sleep at night knowing that I didn't help try to inform somebody about what's brewing right now. And I'm about to show you why that is. Okay, real quick, check out the crypto space. Look at these green bubbles here. We have, so, the reason, so I'm about to lay out a case as to why, crypto happened to come about at the right time strategically, because it's all about the transformation out of the old into the new. And there's a trend brewing over the last 72 hours. I've noticed it's the hashtag RWA. So those three letters have been trending highly in the crypto community, and has everything to do based upon Larry Fink and BlackRock and what people are trying to get ahead of. And it's tokenizing real world assets. And so I dive into that stuff because you got to follow where they're deliberately steering us, because you can profit off of it along the way. But it's just interesting to see how all this is tying together. Quite interesting. But here you have a variety of interesting projects, as well as a bunch of crap coins. We got Floki, we got Shib, we got Pepe, we got Bonk. We got all these projects that are literally just ways of funneling currency out of the old system and into the new system. That's what this sector is going to be about. But for those who dip and dab in it, I'm sure you've done well with it. But real quick glance at what's happening in the markets. We have Bitcoin the last hour went from 66,000 to 69,000. So imagine, 10 years ago, it was a penny. Now it's 69,261 pieces of paper. So depending on if you're in this or not, you've gotten more paper wealth. Now it's a matter of putting it into something real and tangible. Ethereum was 3,400 earlier today. An hour ago, it's 3,500. So a lot of excitement in the crypto space there. Good opportunities for those who take advantage of it. Let's look at the old legacy system. Let me refresh this, because this isn't looking that good right now. A lot of red on the screen. But as we can see here, Microsoft is down. We got Apple's down. Google's down. Oh, look, NVIDIA, $965.38 a share. Yeah. And so here's a question I'm going to put out there for my people, my speculators or investors. You fall into one of those two. You're a speculator, meaning you take risk, or you're an investor. You think you're safe. What is more intriguing? At this current valuation, would you be willing to buy NVIDIA, one share of NVIDIA, or say one share of Ethereum? Let me know in the chat for my speculators or investors. It kind of gives me an idea as to if people are trending towards this new system that they're setting up, or if people are still wanting to take advantage of the older system. Because no matter what, with $1.2 trillion just being signed into existence, both of them going to go up. It's just more so which one will correct the hardest and the fastest. And so both of those, Ethereum has been used by all the major tech companies, and NVIDIA supplies the hardware to run all that software. So both of them might continue to trend up for a while. But once again, it's all denominated in USD that's being deliberately debased. So it's like, okay, the trade-off is, I'm not quite sure how the trade-off will fare in the future. But anyway, look at the financial sector right now. It's in the red, minus. Let me see here. We got PayPal. PayPal is up. Let me get to 1.65. And then the banking sector is not that hot right now. Let me get myself out the way. The banking sector is not that hot right now. So interesting. Amazon is up. So this is what's happening in the legacy system. It's always good to keep an eye on it, because that these charts here has been positioned as the lifeline of our country, of the financial system. So as long as this stuff is here in the red and green, it gives people confidence that things are okay. But we know the other words. So okay, that's what's happening, man. But real quick, let me switch up some things real quick. So I actually want to share with you. I got a lot of tabs open. Give me a second. Let me get these tabs squared away. So I would say this story here is very interesting. So I'm going out of order. This story here is very interesting. Shouldn't be a surprise to nobody, but this is just, there's a total of 12 or so bills, like 1,000-page pieces of legislation that all require more currency being created. And this is just the first one. Biden signs $1.2 trillion spending package for government funding until October. So this is literally the creation of currency to pay current bills and all the pork that's in between of all the stuff I listed in that little short, billions upon billions going overseas. They spending billions for transgender and gay home care centers, and it's just crazy. And this has nothing to do outside of the current deficit spending we have and all of the, was it $10 trillion worth of bonds already been issued that need to be rolled over and at much higher interest rates. So this is 1.2 plus the 10 between now and June, where we're going to need some help. And the world's going away from buying and supporting and providing us credit. So you can see how there's going to be a lot of shuffling of the cards behind the scenes. So this is what's happening. And I wanted to actually share with you a visual aid to show you what 1.2 trillion look like. So let me share a video with you real quick. Something that caught my attention. Let me bring it on the screen here. Give me a second. So you got 1 million right here. This is like a pallet of $100 bills. You got 10 million, which is a little bit more than a briefcase. Then you have 100 million, which is a pallet or 2 or 3. Then you have this whole, this could be, say, 20, 30 pallets of paper. That's 1 billion. Then you have basically, I don't know how to describe this one here. This is only 10 million right here worth of paper. So, you know, this is not making fun of this, but this is the size of the thing. 100 billion right here next to this truck. Here's the picture I just grabbed off the internet. Here we have $1 trillion. Look at that. $1 trillion brought into existence with the stroke of a pen. And people think that their financial futures are going to be anywhere near sustainable or something they can actually maintain. And speaking of which, I'm everywhere right now, but I follow. Let me share something with you. I follow. Let me grab it. Let me see real quick, because I follow Legacy Financial System as well as Legacy Financial Advisors. And the reason I follow them, because you know, it's stories like this that really, give me a second. Stories like this that really touch my heart, because people have been led to the slaughter, not knowing that conventional financial advice is outdated and irrelevant, given when you see bills of $1.2 trillion being brought to existence. And it's stuff like this to really get me thinking. Here's how much money Americans in their 30s have in their 401ks. And I'm thinking like, man, if the 401k is the bedrock of what has been labeled as a true retirement vehicle, people are already behind. And it's not going to, they can't catch up to the amount of monetary currency that's been created. But here's just visual aid here. Here's the 401k balances as of Q4 2023. And here's the average and here's the median. So as you can see on the screen here, in their 20s, $16,000. The median is $6,000. In their 30s, it's $51,000. The median is $20,000. For people in their 40s, it's $115,000. The median is $38,000. People in their 50s, $199,000, and the median is $60,000. And so they give reasons as to why cost of living's up. People can't say one way to boost your savings rate without feeling like you're sacrificing too much is to increase your contributions by 1% to 2% per year. Imagine increasing your contributions 1% to 2% when they're signing bills of $1 trillion every 3 couple of months into existence. The monetary base is expanding way more than you can ever save. And it's all subject to market volatility. So as long as the markets are up, trending up, they say compound interest. Compound interest in the debasing currency is not really impressive. So what about compound inflation? You know what I'm saying? That is eroding you even faster than whatever gains you're thinking you're getting when you look at your screen. So another reason why gold and silver is going to be imperative. So this is just me. I'm everywhere right now, but it's just, this is real stuff, man. And it's unfortunate that, you know, people won't find out about this apart from people who already know, which is you guys here. So that's why I say share these videos so people can find out what's really going on. Because, you know, financial advisor, he's only doing what he's been trained to do. He can only tell you what will help him keep food money in his pocket, keep his light bill on, which is to sell you products. Dangerous. Anyway, let's get to the lead story. Now let's get into the news. Okay, so here we have the lead story, man. Great state of Michigan. Michigan offers homeowners $500 a month to house newcomers. And so that title there would make you think, oh, anybody qualifies for that. And I even, you know, I jokingly, like, you know, told my wife, like, hey, we got a couple empty rooms, you know what I'm saying? Let's, you know, get a couple of dollars. of course, she wasn't having it. And I was just joking with her, but you get my point. But it's a caveat to that. And I'm going to go into that real quick. I don't want to be too long here, but give you some of the details. It says state of Michigan is reportedly pushing program offering citizens $500 a month to take in immigrants. The program, called Newcomer Rental Subsidy, is set to provide shelter outside of state shelters for refugees. The assistance will be available for homeowners for up to a year. Homeowners up to a year. Keep that. Remember that. Okay. Here's just some of the details here. Here's some of the stipulations here. According to state, those eligible include refugees, asylees, special immigration visa holders, victims of human trafficking, and then here, Cuban, Haitian entrants, Afghan nationals, and Ukrainian humanitarian parolees. So this is coming from the state of Michigan. It's good to say they got programs like this in all the other extremely left, woke, liberal states as well. And so it says others who will qualify include individuals who have arrived under the family reunification parole process. What the heck is that? These big words, boy. They include people from El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Colombia, individuals with a pending asylum application, and other individuals on a case-to-case basis. Okay, so this comes from the Michigan Housing Development Authority. They're paying for this. And here you have Amy Hovey, the executive director, claimed the program would help migrants, get this, quote, build a new life here. So we have Michigan employees concerned with helping immigrants build a new life in the state of Michigan. That's one of their priorities. And of course, this comes from, the Michigan Office of Global yada, yada, yada. So let me skip on to the next one. So here's the fine details of this program, the Newcomer Rental Subsidy. And so it says here, the Newcomer Rental Subsidy provides refugees and other with a rental assistance up to $500 per month for up to 12 months with eligibility based on immigration status and household income. Okay, so here are the people that's eligible. As I mentioned, I gave you all those people here. But if you want to actually join this program, you have to be a lower income person and already be on government assistance. So they basically want the poor to take in the poor so that it helps bolster the income of those who are already on government programming. So if you don't qualify with any of these programs here, if you're not getting food stamps, if you're not getting government housing assistance, if you're not already getting government assistance, you can apply for this $500 a month to take in refugees. So it's like a subsidy for the poor to help out the foreigners. And yeah, just craziness. It says applicants must be renting individuals or households who are experiencing housing instability. So think about this. If you have problems putting a roof over your own head, they're trying to say, okay, we can give you $500 to help you be able to pay for your own rent, but then you have to take in these foreigners. It says here, under 85% of federal poverty limit, so you got to be 85% under the poverty limit, live in qualified census tract, basically means you got to live in the hood, terminology speaking, have an income at or below 60% of the area median income, and receive any of the following federal subsidies: temporary assistance for needy families, supplemental nutritional assistance program, free and reduced price lunch, the school breakfast, Medicare Part D, low income, supplemental SSI, Head Start. So literally every program the government set up, you got to qualify for some of those in order to be approved to accept some foreigners into your house. This is our government, man. This is the great state of Michigan. So coming to a state near you or coming to your state. So yeah, anyway, keep it moving. Here's what I want to talk about. So this right here is what I think is very important, which you won't hear about the way I'm about to position it from anywhere else, because as I mentioned before, a good part of why the decentralized space has taken off and come about at this current turning point in humanity. We're going through a monetary reset, and the tokenization of assets, along with stable coins and along with the lure of Bitcoin being a world currency, being positioned right here at this point in time in history, has a lot to do with what they want to do as far as the traditional TradFi / decentralized finance merger, creating a new monetary product. And so this is out of Singapore, but this lets me know what will basically provide more lifeline and kick the debt can down the road just slightly. So we all know governments nationwide are running from these bond auctions. No one's showing up to purchase debt knowing that the government's past their ability to be able to even maintain it, nevertheless pay it back. So they're ditching that and going for gold. We know that. But here's a way to get a lifeline. Singapore's DigiFT launches UST bill RWA tokens. So remember I said real world assets is a new model of tokenizing assets and helping to subsidize the US debt market, I believe. So real quick here. This is one of many products that are being rolled out. It says DigiFit, or whatever, a Singapore license entity, Singapore license, launched tokens that represent a direct claim on US Treasury bill receipts. It says the market capitalization for real world assets tokens grew 15% in the past 24 hours. So literally, just like that, they launched a product utilizing the DeFi model and taking real world assets or liabilities in the form of US Treasuries, and they're trying to link them and give a new entryway for the crypto speculation. So literally inflating the crypto market intentionally, allowing people to convert those gains into stable coins, and then using those stable coins to then invest in US Treasuries or funnel currency back to our government. It won't be enough to really prop up the trillions and trillions that's coming, but it'll be a way of creating a new investable product for people to earn yield off of. And so it goes on giving more information. It says a new product adopts the structure of a depository receipt, which traditionally involves a certificate reflecting shares of a company outside the local stock market. So the same processes in the old system, they're basically putting it in the new system. It says using the structure, the DigiFit said it offers users direct beneficial ownership of AA plus rated and short-term T-bills and will provide a legal stream of returns from the underlying security. So literally, the goal is to invest in what is considered AA, plus US debt, which are shorter denomination debt instruments. But then again, those funds will provide somewhat of a lifeline. Okay, real world assets, something that is strategically being done in this point in time to prop things up. And then here we have another article here. Real world asset tokenization explained, XDC, which is one of those ledgers projects that people say is a part of the ISO 20022, which is the global framework for the new digital monetary system. You got XRP, Stellar, and all those other networks. Whether you like it or not, they're already building. Those entities exist to help build out the future infrastructure. XDC is labeled as being one of them, perhaps, but they give an interesting list of assets that they're working to tokenize. So the idea you'll own nothing to be happy with it, this is a part of the transition. Everything will be put on a blockchain, and the title of it will have there'll be a catch to it. They'll be able to see your transactions in real time. And if you're a good boy, through your digital ID, you'll be able to participate in their new system and have access to these type of assets. Only if you're a good person. But if you're not in good standing, they'll cut you off and shut you off because they control the ledgers. Anyway, XDC network. Okay, the real world. So here's a quick definition. The role of real world assets in blockchain refers to tangible or intangible assets from the traditional economy, such as real estate, commodities, or financial instruments that are tokenized and brought into a blockchain. The integration offers unprecedented benefits for who? Us or them, including enhanced liquidity, i.e. I just showed you an article before, buying up T-bills provides liquidity for who? Oh, the government who needs funds. Transparency, only reason they want it to be transparent is so they can see who, as far as the actual retail investor are and where they're at, so that they can determine, how they can get around, giving us an opportunity to have some type of monetary freedom because it's open ledger. They can see it, but we can't see them though. And global access while democratizing investment opportunities. So basically allowing other people around the world, such as people of Africa, to eventually be able to participate, to inflate these ledgers and to make the uber rich even richer. Okay, so here's some of the assets. Showcasing real-world asset ecosystem on the XDC ledger. Comtech Gold is a groundbreaking digital asset backed by 100% physical gold. Okay, next one. U.S. Treasury Securities by Yield Tech. I just mentioned that. Stasis, which Stasis is a digital version of the euro, so a stable coin. 4, Kinesis money. That's another, gold monetary system that allows users to manage and spend gold and silver as money. So so Kinesis money being in bed with these entities here sounds good right now, but after the restructuring, after the reset, all these middlemen, the institutions that are connected to the blockchain communities, they have to abide by whatever the regulation and legislation is in that country. And so all governments want transparency so they can see, but then again, they don't want us to be able to see what they do. So eventually in time, they're going to crack down on these type of things here, and you may or may not be able to get your gold out. That's the risk you'll take. But believe me, they're going to know how much weight you have in these systems. So that's why it's always good to have something on your own, to be able to self-custody those IRAs, like I mentioned, start this thing off. Just my opinion. Trade FedEx is a blockchain-based platform that facilitates trade, finance solutions by connecting trade finance originators and from a network of banks, whatever. So basically, Wall Street, giving Wall Street a chance to take profit off this. The Fathom Dollar stablecoin. What else? So these are just some of the instruments that they are using right now to tokenize the world and transfer the old into the new. And this was a part of their plan going back decades. They knew they were just waiting on the tech to get here. The tech is here. They're building it out. And so, yeah, this is the world we live in, people. So it's so enticing to get involved with it because people have the idea that they can have skin in the game by holding tokens that represent the value on these chains. But all these centrally controlled blockchains, they have a backdoor, hands down. And if they don't have a backdoor, the ones that are so-called decentralized, like Bitcoin and the other Bitcoin chains, they'll never be able to reach consensus fast enough to make the tweaks needed to keep the blockchain secure, especially when governments get desperate and they realize that, people are profiting too much. Believe me, there's going to be a way to disrupt those networks, in my opinion. Anyway, that's what's happening in the news thus far. I got a couple more stories here, and then I want to hear what you guys keep an eye on. Okay, so let me get into some other stories here. So now I'm going to Twitter a little bit and share with you some of the issues that the world faces. So this is from the Kobayashi letter, and I'm going to get to this. So this visual aid right here, it says gross issuance of U.S. Treasuries quarterly. And so literally right now, the amount of debt being issued by our government to fund as well as the rollover of old debt is at COVID levels, meaning that when the world shut down, in order to reboot it, they issued 3, 4, 5, 6 trillion worth of debt, in a sense, or that's how much currency was created. We are already right now at those same levels, and this is that 1.2 just brought into existence with the Biden signature, and the 7 to 10 trillion that got to be rolled over the next couple months. We're just kicking that off right now. We're just kicking it off right now. So this is what I'm talking about. No one is wanting U.S. liabilities. Therefore, yeah, it's going to be a rude awakening. So real quick, it says issuances of U.S. treasuries are now at pandemic levels. We saw nearly 7 trillion in gross issuance of U.S. treasuries in just 3 months. 3 months in 2023. For the entire year 2023, a whopping 23 trillion in U.S. treasuries were issued. 23 trillion. U.S. federal debt is rising by 1 trillion every 90 days. U.S. government spending as a percentage of GDP is at World War II levels. Why are treasury issuances and deficits at record levels if we are on a track for a soft landing? So think about this. If everything is hunky-dory, they're trying to sell the soft landing narrative. Why are we not being told about the systemic nature of debt issuances being brought into existence? And the part that really bothers me is what I always talk about, how people think that they're going to have a normal financial future. It is mathematically impossible based upon all the debt that they're reaching out into the future. They're extracting it into the here and now just to keep this thing looking as if it's sustainable. You know what I'm saying? If people really knew. Last thing here, said, needless to say, the U.S. government had a spending problem. Just a couple days ago, another 1.2 trillion budget passed. In the words of Fed Chair Powell, the U.S. is on an unsustainable fiscal path. So think about this. If the current Federal Reserve Chair, Jerome Powell, publicly admitted several times now, the U.S. is on an unsustainable fiscal path. So this is the greatest threat to your financial security. this path that we're on, it's unsustainable. So think about this. Any currency that you work for, you save and you put into either debt instruments or you put into the legacy stock market, in the near year, 2 years, 12, 24, 36 months, whatever, there is the risk of you literally having it all wiped away with just a slight correction in the markets. Then it's going to impact the banks. Then it's going to impact the very way we live our lives in this country. And this is not doom and gloom. This is just the numbers. The math don't add up to be able to sustain this current level of life that we live here in this country without something given. And, gold and silver, of course, is a hedge. It's going to be a sponge that will help you absorb all this liquidity that's going to be created. But even then, the world we're going to live in will be so unrecognizable. It won't be the same ever again. So therefore, we all have to adjust to whatever new paradigm is coming. So yeah, just interesting times, man. Just interesting stuff to be aware of. But you won't hear this on any other news source, man. Giving you guys the truth. Okay, so what is the world doing about this? Let's find out. So here's an interesting from Jane over. He lives, I think, in Singapore. He's a gold analyst, works for Gainesville News Coins. And so let me show you this. So literally, he came out with this article here. I think I shared on Twitter sphere, but he does a better job of recording the real numbers of what's happening in the gold market rather than just relying upon what the World Gold Council tells us, because they're telling us some very low figures. So it says China has taken over the gold price control from the West. So the whole reason why we've seen these all-time highs or all-time lows in fiat terms is because of what's happening on the Eastern Hemisphere. And he does a good job in this article. I can't even begin reading it, but I would encourage you, just Google this term here and you'll get more analysis as to why we are already off the cliff as far as the current Federal Reserve petrodollar system no longer looking the same beyond this year, flat out. Like literally, we're going to be in a whole new world monetary order after this year. And that's why they know this. That's why all this, war stuff is happening. That's why all this immigration stuff is happening and everything else the world is facing. Anyway, so real quick, I'll thumb through some charts here. PBOC on an unprecedented gold buying spree. So just look at these charts. So I'm going to break it down to you so you can see what I see. Let me get myself out the way here. It says quarterly central banking gold. Let me zoom in. Make this bigger. Quarterly central bank gold buying. It says the reported buying is the red, and the World Gold Council estimated buying, reported and unreported. So as we can see here, this is what has been happening in the gold market. So literally since 2022, the blue is what has been estimated. So once again, there's no true figures because we can't really see what's happening inside the countries, referring to China in particular. So literally, that lets us know that while they've been buying gold, selling everything debt-related and buying physical gold, we also have, I got a chart showing how treasury purchases have been dwindling bit by bit from all the what used to be key buyers. And then let me give you another one here. Let me go back here. So these are just some visual aids worth taking a look at, man. Here we have estimated PBOC gold holdings, metric tons. So we got the annual PBOC purchases, then the total PBOC purchases. So here's a yellow, which is the annual. So we see that since 2021, there's been a surge up. And then here we got the total, which is what is he's calculated as well. So literally there's a little disconnect there between what's stated and what might be unreported. So, but along with this has led to the sudden surge of gold surpassing $2,000, and now we at the 2,200 range, being led by China. All right, here's some more graphs here. Annual buying central banking. Annual buying of central bank. So literally, here we go back to 1950. Let me make sure that's correct. 1951, during the petrodollar Bretton Woods gold agreement, nations were holding gold. Then we had the closure of the window. And so here we have the great withdrawing. 1967, we know France wanted to repatriate their gold, and they basically say, we want our gold back. And then we led to the quiet period of gold being transitioned to a commodity during this time period here. There was no activity. Central banks selling their gold. Why? Because they had to prop up the financialization of the global monetary order through debt issuance and the capitalization of financial markets. So here we have a quiet period, but literally in 2007, that's when the game came back on for gold. So I'm just highlighting how, as much as the mainstream media won't focus on gold, the people who issue the currency, the people who are the problem for why the world is the way it is, they're running back to gold. So just a little something I thought you guys might be interested in. Never a dull moment. Okay, so here's another little report. So here we have the World Bank has just released a handbook for asset managers on how to invest in gold. So the World Bank has issued a pamphlet telling asset managers how they should, get their people to invest in gold. And it's a quote here. It says, in the modern era, gold continues to play a critical role in the global financial system, serving as a hedge against inflation, a safe haven asset, and a reserve asset for central banks. Gold remains a crucial component of the global financial system and is likely to continue to play an essential role in the future. So this is what they're being encouraged to consider getting into as a hedge against their own issues. And you got people in the real world looking at digits on the screen. Okay. Here's another interesting little headline. Buy gold or gold miners. So this is coming from MarketWatch, a mainstream syndicate source. As of today, this morning, 7:30, buy gold or gold miners. You don't have to dig deep to hit pay dirt. So literally, miners are literally underperforming right now based upon all this activity in gold. So literally, there could be a hell of an opportunity for those to profit off this transition with miners. So that's just something there. So those who get into that, it's definitely worth your while. Anyway, so here's what's happening in Main Street. Ericsson to shed 1,200 Swedish jobs in a bid to slash costs. So literally every publicly traded company has a invested interest to slash cost. That means literally cutting what they would consider dead weight, which is their labor force, their employees, so that they can prove to be profitable for shareholders and have a favorable quarterly earning report so that they can stay open. So this is just some interesting news here, but it says company announced about 8,500 job reductions a year ago. So literally, employees are literally just dead weight to publicly traded companies unless they're profitable. And that's the ultimate goal of companies, to remain profitable for shareholders. So, and it's unfortunate that a lot of people have been steered into holding shares of these companies, which has been a substitute for their wealth accumulation. But then again, you have a lot of the companies that are publicly traded that don't offer dividends, which would be a way to have a cash flow income and to be able to own shares in the company, which would be the twofold people, if they only knew about it, would be able to profit off of this transition while not really being as much concerned about the job side, because you'll be getting income from these companies had you got into them. So getting dividends right now in companies that still pay something is better than having nothing. So anyway, so here's another last story here. I won't bore you anymore. Last story here. This just goes to show the political theater behind the scenes. And this is very important because there's a shakeup taking place right now where you have a lot of GOP members calling it quits, which puts the House of Representatives in danger of not having enough Republican leadership to contest the liberal left and their agendas. So literally, it will make it easier for the Democrats to pass even more bills in the near future, more stimulus packages or whatever they want to put out, because there's no competition, because the Republicans literally are taking buyouts. Literally, the Republicans who would stand a chance at least holding up some of the agenda of the left, they're basically dropping out. So literally, they're being told something or they're being offered something that makes them say, hey, I'm tired of this fight. Let me take this payday and get out of, give up my seat, not run again. And literally, that's less voting power that the House will have. Therefore, it makes it easier to come up with these $1 trillion stimulus packages, because the next one will be coming pretty soon and everything else. But anyway, it's going to make it hard also for Donald Trump, for those who think that he's going to make that much of a difference. But public representatives Mike Gallagher, who represented the 8th Congressional District in Wisconsin, announced earlier this year that he would retire from the House of Representatives after serving his current term in office. So literally, here's a list. Gallagher joins the ranks of 14 other House Republicans who have also announced that they will not seek re-election. So these individuals here will put in jeopardy the amount of votes that will be needed to combat anything woke that comes from the left. So literally, you already have the sold out Republicans anyway. This tends to side with the Democratic side. So they'll have more than enough votes to pass what they need to pass. So this is what this is all about. So, and also it's going to make it very hard for Trump, because if he gets reelected, if we actually have an election, if he gets reelected, he's going to be biting fighting against people in his own party or whatever that party's worth. So anyway, this is just what's happening in the news, man. Never a dull moment, man. But I guess the key takeaways from this live stream this morning is literally the world's running from our debt. They're running to gold. And hopefully you guys recognize this trend and don't just, I guess, pay attention to what they say, but try to mimic a little bit of what they do. That's the best way of slowing down the momentum of wealth destruction on the individual personal level. So anyway, but it's been interesting, man. It's been very interesting, to say the least. Never a dull moment. It's just Monday. It's just Monday, people. So it's going to be an interesting week. And my whole point of these morning check-ins is just to give you a broad viewpoint of some stories that, will impact your life. But all along, I start off with the good news because ultimately that's what it boils down to. If you're in position, spiritually speaking, where your faith is being built up daily, it'll make it easier to deal with the woes of this life because there will be many. And we haven't even got to the persecution phase. It's coming. I was, side note, I was, just looking at the activity happening in Europe and how, the Nation of Islam, not the Nation of Islam, but Islam in general, it's eroding European culture. And those same individuals are flooding through our borders now. People who just have a different way of life, different religious philosophy. They're very vocal and they're very bold and courageous with theirs. They get their prayer in 5 times a day, devout in the streets, wherever they want to. And you're supposed to just bow down and let it happen. And so literally, it's going to be a culture clash as well as a religious clash coming to a city near you pretty soon. So that's why it's never been more important to make sure you're standing solid on the rock, because your faith will be tested if it hasn't been already. So that's just a little closing statement for your boy, young Mike. All right. Well, that's all she wrote, man. About 54 minutes longer than I wanted to. I'm going to chop out that first, 10 minutes of soundless information, but hopefully this was of interest to you. As always, man, hit that thumbs up button. Take this video if it's of value to you. If you want to make a difference in other people's lives, this is a way to sow into them by sharing this information so people can get an alternative approach to what's happening in the real world, because God knows they're going to need it. And we all need it. All right, my good people.